So it's Tuesday morning, rolling into work. I got to share the story with you that happened to me last night. I just got my bars on this bike last weekend. I got my new bar and mirrors on it to kind of complete the cafe look while staying within the legal limits of the state of Ohio and have mirrors on my motorcycle. I went down to a local Creamy Whip, and for those of you that are not from the Midwest, a Creamy Whip is nothing more than a little hut, for lack of better terms, that happens to sell hot dogs, brats, mets, and ice cream stuff. And yesterday I happened to go to the oldest one here in the tri-state, puts his Creamy Whip down in West Fork. And there were these two older gentlemen, super nice, super friendly. They came over and they asked what year my bike was, and I told them it's a 79. And they asked how many miles are on it. I told them they wouldn't believe me, so I wanted them to look at the odometer. And they kind of walked over, looked at the odometer, and saw the lack of miles on this bike for being as old as it is. And the gentleman asked if I did all the work myself, and I told him, well, I said I do the grunt work. My dad is the brains because I'm kind of learning into the carbureted world. I've always played with fuel injected cars, but I've done all the wrenching myself, but the knowledge is coming from someone smarter than I. And he told me that he liked my bike, liked the shape of it, told me it looked like it was in good condition, the standard run-of-the-mill stuff. And he asked me if my bars were on upside down. And I told him, no. I said, the bars are not on upside down. They're perfectly normal. And he asked why I had them looking like a sport bike. And I got to talk to him a little bit about the history of the cafe bike and how it started in England. And they would run from cafe to cafe. And part of the way that they would get more speed out of their small displacement bikes was to remove body panels, fairings, fenders, what have you, and get low bars on it so that way they could get into a more aero tuck position. And the guy told me that he had never heard of a cafe bike before, but it sounded interesting to him. And it was just kind of interesting because I picture something as old as the cafe bike being kind of universally known, but I guess it's not. Then I was coming home, and there was a gentleman in it was some kind of Chrysler car, 300 or something or other, some big body Chrysler luxury car, and he rolled down his windows and was, man, that's a good looking bike. What year is it? And this, that, and the other. And I mean, it's at night, so you can't really see all the rust and see all the discoloration on the engine. But it was a compliment. And I never. This is my first year in a long time being on a motorcycle, and my first time on a modified bike. Period. Especially something this old. So to me, it's just kind of funny that, or I won't say funny, maybe intriguing is a better word, that people feel that bikers, the other two gentlemen had bikes, and one gentleman had an 85 Honda, and then the guy that he was with had a 89 Cal, and it's just something about, I guess, the vintage bikes. He was very surprised that the carburetors didn't need rejet. He was surprised that they cleaned up as well as they did. And I told him that we let him soak in some Kim Dip overnight, and he asked about the gasketing, and we told him that we removed all the gaskets, removed the float bowl. We, after we pulled everything out, we rinsed it off with some warm water and sprayed everything down with carb cleaner to remove any moisture that might be in the carburetors and this, that, and the other. And it was almost like he was surprised that someone in the mid-30 bracket age would understand and be able to work on carburetors. It's almost like it's becoming a lost art form. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'm kind of surprised that it That, I mean, like I said, that's my second time really taking it out with the bars on it. 2 times, two different people kind of came up to me and talked to me about the bike. It's just encouraging would be a good way to word it, to know that I'm kind of doing the right thing and working on the right way of doing things. It's not that it's my bike and the bike should be an extension of you, but when the public reacts to it in a positive manner, it's kind of a good feeling. Because, I mean, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for what I want. And I wanted a city bike that I could drive around town, and that's exactly what I'm kind of building it into. But I didn't expect it to be a head turner, for lack of better terms. But enjoy the ride. Stay safe out there on the roads, and keep moving.